in the past year, we've seen an epidemic of book bannings in red states. And typically these are books that are written by authors who are people of color, members of the LGBTQ community. But one school in Texas is actually looking to ban a novel adaptation of Anne Frank's diary and even the Bible. So let's get into the details. All right, so why might these books, by the way, the Bible, have you read the Bible? Have you read Deuteronomy? Just saying, if we're gonna open Pandora's box and we're gonna go in this direction, Republicans better be careful. Now, ahead of the first day of school, the Keller Independent School District is removing all books that were challenged last year within the school district, including the Bible, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, and a graphic novel adaptation of Anne Frank's The Diary of a Young Girl or Young Girl. Okay, let's pause for a second. So I think it's really funny that they're doing this in some ways, because they're just doing a massive advertisement for these books, and nothing makes kids want to do something more than adults telling them they can't do it. So like, this is great. I guarantee you more kids are gonna end up reading these books and checking them out of the library as a result of all the attention that's now being directed toward these book bans. Attached to the email was a list of 41 book titles to be removed. 41 guys, 41 book titles to be removed, including all versions of the Bible and Gender Queer, a memoir by Maya Kobabe, which depicts her journey of gender identity and sexual orientation. Apologies if I mispronounced the last name there. So how does the challenging work exactly? Well, the Keller School District allows parents, employees, and district residents to file formal objections or challenges to books and instructional materials used in school. A committee then considers whether the materials are educationally suitable and makes a decision on whether the material will remain in schools. So we'll get into what's really driving this push to ban books in just a moment. But Waz, I'm curious what your thoughts are about this, because the left gets a lot of flack for its censorship of unsavory individuals. But I feel like there's no attention ever paid to the very real censorship that's taking place with the right wing.
Yeah. Obviously, this is just a stupid idea on its face. It goes against everything we allegedly stand for in this country when it comes to arming our citizenry with education and knowledge. Like, it goes against all of that stuff. But I would think as parents, man, like honestly, unless you're gonna turn your kid into some trust fund kid where it doesn't matter, if they're gonna compete out there in the world as future employees, whatever, people who are hireable, you're putting them behind the 8 ball here. They're just gonna be less dynamic than their counterparts, which I just think is a mistake. Like, you shouldn't be doing this to your kids, because other kids are gonna learn about a whole bunch of other stuff. They're gonna know how to communicate and deal with a whole range of other people, and your kids are just gonna be these cloistered, sheltered people who are useless.
No, you're absolutely right. I didn't think about that, but you're so right about that.
I mean, and just to put it like this, whenever you watch those cult documentaries or I escaped polygamy and all of that, and they're like, yo, we get out into the world and we're not prepared. Right? Yep. Like, it takes a lot for us to get acclimated to the real world because we were so sheltered and so we're basically behind the 8 ball. That's what these people are voluntarily doing to their kids. It's ridiculous.
It absolutely is ridiculous. I mean, everyone loses in this censorious environment, including the children. You're right about that. And look, I haven't read the novel adaptation of Anne Frank's diary. But I did read Anne Frank's diary when I was either in 4th or 5th grade. It was assigned to us in class. And look, teaching elementary school kids about the Holocaust is not an easy thing to do. And what I appreciated about Anne Frank's diary is it helps you understand it without, yeah, it is. There are parts of it that are graphic, but you're old enough to understand what those things are because you're of a similar age. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's not like you're reading something. It's, oh my God, I'm learning about the human body for the first time in my life. But what it does is it helps educate you and helps you understand what this meant on a very personal level for children, during the Holocaust. Like it was the introduction for a broader curriculum on the Holocaust. And I think it was an important part of my education and my experience in school. The idea of taking certain books away from kids just like blows my mind, because you're right, they won't be well informed. They won't know much about the world around them, and they'll just exist in this weird, black and white world that like conservatives desperately want to exist in. Now, since the committee, if you're wondering how is this all happening, right? Like what's the push? What are the factors influencing this behind the scenes? Since the committee met and recommended keeping some challenged books, 3 new conservative school board members, all recipients of a Christian Political Action Committee's donations, were elected to the district's 7-member board of trustees. And according to the school district, all 41 challenged books are now to be reviewed again by campus staff and librarians to see if they meet a new board policy approved last week. That PAC, by the way, is called the Patriot Mobile Action. And here's an excerpt from their website. This is what they believe. We believe to save America, we must save our schools, of course, by banning books. Every child in America should be educated with the values of American exceptionalism. Look, I gotta be honest, as someone who went to public schools in California, we're already there, folks. Okay, and that's in blue California, we're already there. Critical race theory and Marxist policies have no place in schools or government. Well, don't lose sleep over that, because that didn't exist in our public schools either. Didn't learn about Marxism until I was in college. Voting is a civic duty and responsibility to maintain our constitutional republic. Okay, I can get behind that. And in our First Amendment, freedom of religion, get this, freedom of speech and to peaceably assemble. Okay, you don't really believe in freedom of speech because you're banning books. You're funding school board members who ban books on your behalf. That is what you're doing.
We did a segment recently on Rebel HQ about like these weird Airbnbs of slave quarters in Mississippi and all of that stuff. And I was making the point that I feel like a lot of black people, I think wrongheadedly, still carry the shame associated with the atrocities of slavery. And I'm just like, I don't know why black people internalize this shame. Being descendants of slaves is not shameful. The shameful part of that history was carried out by the white people, quite frankly, right? But I feel like throughout my life, when I hear black people talk about slavery, it's with this shame and it's like, oh, I'm still wearing the stain of slavery, even though I'm a doctor who makes like $500,000 a year and whatever. That's neither here nor there. But I do feel like in recent years, white people are carrying this damn shame. And this is the sort of backlash to that. Like these people really do feel that the acts of slavery was shameful and they want to disassociate with it to the extent that they don't even want their kids to know about it. Like it's kind of crazy to watch this stuff play out.
Well, I mean, I just think they're worried about their kids learning about the reality of and the historic elements of race relations in the country. And I think they're afraid that their kids are gonna judge them. I think that's what it's really about, I think they do to some extent feel shame, but I think they're more concerned about their children questioning them or maybe even questioning their ancestors, their heritage. I think that's what it's really about.
Mommy, did you ever swim in an all-white swimming pool?
I mean, depending on her age, she probably did. I mean, think about it.
Yeah,
the civil rights movement wasn't that long ago.
Of course. All that segregation stuff wasn't that long ago. And I will say this, just as a final note on this, Anna, at least they're being consistent, because my God, so much violence and sex in the Bible. I mean, forget about fire and brimstone, eye for an eye. This guy Abraham had so many kids, so much sex, like you wouldn't even believe it. So yeah, I'm glad they're banning that, because we don't want the kids to be fruitful and try to multiply. We got to stop that.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.